and Studs! Welcome on into the channel and welcome on into the first day of 2022. So happy new year everybody! I hope that 2022 is going to be on the up and up. This is Sprues and Studs and we are continuing down the journey of putting together non-Lego builds with this set that I found from the largest internet retailer in the world. So this sushi restaurant Street Mini is made by a company named Lapse and retails for $26.99. There are a total of 420 tiny pieces in this set, and you can also get a case of carpal tunnel syndrome as well. Aren't you all excited? Before I start rambling on, filling the void of silence with my droning voice, if you are new to the channel, I encourage you to please subscribe to the channel. We feature predominantly Lego builds, both old and new. We also hang out in cities that Lego did not build, i.e. non-Lego brick builds. We feature Warhammer 40k painting tutorials at least once a month, and then we finally round out the craziness with IRL episodes called Besides the Bricks, where I talk about anything and everything under the sun, but mostly about Warhammer and Lego stuff. So come on in, new viewers, and be a part of our growing brick family. To my current brick family, at the time of recording this video, again, we have experienced the largest explosion of new members to this ever-growing family. I want to thank you all for your increasing support. I am absolutely floored that we went from 75 subs to 95 subs in almost 1 week. Heck, it almost took 3 to 4 months to get from 50 to 75 subs. You are all amazing, and I cannot thank you enough. As usual, I've gone off topic, so let's get to the subject at hand. The reason why I bought this set is because it reminded me of old Bricktober sets that we used to be able to buy from Toys R Us. Hopefully, you all remember how awesome Toys R Us was, because it is now dead as a dinosaur in the United States. I remember the good old times when I was a kid. When my parents told me that we were going to Toys R Us, I was beaming as bright as the sun. Shit, I was literally a kid in the toy store. What the heck do you expect? I was grinning from ear to ear, just being fully immersed in Legos, Nerf guns, Nintendo games, remote-controlled cars, and I could go on forever talking about fantastic how that store was. Hell, in fact, as an adult, I could still feel the same elation and joy when I stepped foot in the store, but I had to show that I was an adult and mute my excitement a little bit. Regardless, every year, Toys R Us and Lego would collaborate and release these mini sets where you can build miniature buildings and connect them all together. You can build a hotel, movie theater, pizza parlor, a firehouse, and string them in a row to form a miniature town. Anyway, while I was browsing other brick builds, this particular one called the Sushi restaurant caught my eye. For those who do not know me, I've had a growing passion for Japanese culture as I get older over the years, and I literally want to immerse myself into onsen water and feel all that is good about Japan. I seriously love everything that is about Japan, but nothing is more so than Japanese food. And what food is associated with Japan the most? Ramen, right? No, I think that actually would be sushi. So that is why I am starting this mini build series where we build a Japanese town together, and we're starting this town with this humble sushi restaurant. We have plans to put together a ramen shop and more. I just don't want to spoil all the surprise buildings that are going to be built in this miniature Japanese city. I will have to say the box that this set comes in is rather remarkable. It features a nice picture of the set you are building in the front, and in the back are examples of other buildings that you put together and connect it to the building that you have just completed. I'm not quite happy how poorly the largest online retailer packaged the set. They literally just threw the box into a plastic bag and shipped it on its merry way. However, the box was not very merry when it reached me. In fact, the box was happy as looking as a kid who had his lollipop taken away from them by a bully. On top of that, the box was open, and when I opened the already molested box and dumped out the contents, well, much to my disappointment, there were no instructions. You know what? I was the damn kid that had the lollipop that got his lollipop yanked away from him by the bully. I mean, what kind of box does not come with instructions, right? So I had to return the first set and then have them ship out another one to me. Sheesh, and I'll be fully transparent to you. The other Street Minis that I have bought have all had their boxes crushed and open. I suppose that's what we get for straying outside the sacred confines of the Lego garden. Now that I'm all done ranting and raving about the lack of initial quality of the set, let's jump into talking about this set for real. So as you saw early in the video, this comes with a sheet of instructions rather than a book, and to be honest, that did not really bother me. The pieces that come in 3 separate bags. Unfortunately, this set also comes with miniature sticker, which by the way were a pain in the ass to stick on due to their size. One major thing I will say about this set is when it's a street mini, it is definitely a mini. The bricks are literally miniature versions of Lego pieces. I'll have to say the bricks are probably 30-40% smaller than their Lego counterparts. I seriously felt like a giant with clumsy ape appendages trying to corral all these pieces together. Putting together one by one studs on top of each other was quite challenging because, well, I could not handle those little pieces. I swear to you, after I was done putting the set together, I felt my hands were cramping up due to having to grip something so damn tiny. So the build starts off with the foundation of the building, and then you move on to building the kitchen area of the sushi restaurant. The restaurant comes with a sushi counter, a side table, and a few stools to sit by the ever so famous sushi counter. In which, by the way, if you're truly going to experience sushi, you'll need to sit right next to the sushi chef counterside and experience an omakase menu. And I will stop myself right there before I go on to another major tangent. So on the counter of the restaurant are pieces of ebi nigiri, which is shrimp over rice. Then the kitchen has some bottles that are on a shelf and has a stove area. Moving on, you start building the second story, and on the second story is another more private dining area that has a plant on the inside, a table that barely sits above the ground, and I'm assuming tatami mats where you would sit on the ground in the traditional way that Japanese people would sit. Outside of the private dining area is the colorful looking planter with yellow and pink flowers, along with some nice panels that display different types of sushi. Finally, you progress to building a roof, which there really isn't anything to be said about it aside from, well, it's a roof. However, the thing that I like the most about the roof is the very prominent display that the restaurant is indeed a sushi restaurant. I'm going to assume that the pieces of nigiri on top are madai and sake, which in English are red snapper and salmon respectively. I can definitely pass on the madai, but I love raw salmon so much. I could probably go on forever and talk about sushi, but I realize this video is all about the sushi restaurant and not the sushi itself. At this point in time, you may be interested in what I think of this set as a whole. Aside from the smushed packaging and the lack of directions that were provided to me the first time, as well as the set being shipped open, I actually enjoyed this set as much as I like taking strolls up and down the beach at noon. Why the hell do I say that? Well, I do enjoy walking on a beach for damn sure. However, I do not like the heat of the noon sun. I'll go into more detail and explain this analogy to you. So I would equate walking up and down the beach as building the set. I really love building as it relaxes me, and I find it extremely enjoyable putting a chaotic mess together into something that represents order. The heat of the noon sun is the pain that I felt when I was putting together this restaurant. Again, these pieces are really damn small and very hard to grip, so manipulating them proved to be quite a challenge. If you want to talk about the quality of the set, the bricks snapped together perfectly. There were no build quality issues or any missing pieces. I mean, when you look at this set, it looks, well, like a sushi restaurant, complete with what you would want in a restaurant such as this. Would I buy this set again? Well, yeah, spoiler alert, I kinda did in effect that I bought multiple buildings and put together a mini city. As I close, I wanted to put my boy Kai next to the building to give you all an idea of how small this set is IRL. So this is Bruce and Studs signing off, and I will see you all in the next build.